Hello and welcome to India Revival Mission. Over the next couple of days on the Times Network, we would be debating, discussing, analyzing, and more importantly, finding solutions as to what will really help India regain its lost economic momentum. The COVID crisis has pushed us back, but how can the captains of India Inc. convert this crisis into an opportunity? What are the measures the administration needs to take, and what are the steps an entrepreneur now needs to really adopt and follow to make sure that this is one of the moments where we may have fallen down, but when we start walking, we will be amongst the fastest economy in the world. So let me start our today's India Revival Mission with none other than Telecom Minister Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad on his view on electronic manufacturing. And Mr. Prasad is clearly of the view that after Samsung, it's a matter of time other global giants would like to use India as the big manufacturing base. Why? It's very simple. A, India has a very strong customer base. B, after the changes in the corporate tax cut, India surely is one destination where affordability and the tax structure for global investor is also very strong and supportive.
If all the major mobile manufacturer, contract manufacturers and also component manufacturers have chosen to apply in this scheme in such an exciting manner, which inter alia means they will be manufacturing mobile component etc. worth 11.5 lakh crore. How many billions and billions of dollars you can understand? They will be exporting products worth 7 lakh crores. How many billions and billions of dollars it turns into, you know it very well, in the coming 5 years. And they will be giving job to 300,000 Indians directly and 900,000 Indians indirectly.
Also, State Bank of India's chairman, Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, the man who runs India's biggest bank, is clearly of the view that the economy now seems to be normalizing. The moratorium numbers, if at all, they are looking encouraging.
Honorable Prime Minister has given the direction by announcing Atmanirbhar Bharat. A lot of policy interventions have come from the government as well as from Reserve Bank of India. And for Atmanirbhar Bharat, everybody will have to contribute. So whether it is you, me, corporations, individuals. So once it becomes a collective effort, then India's revival story otherwise is intact. We have good demographics. We have advantage in terms of technology, IT professionals, innovation, pharma. So there are many things which are in favor of India right now. And that is how we have to work towards it, all of us.
It now gives me great pleasure to bring on board Mr. R.S. Sondhi of Amul to talk about what is happening to the food sector and what really can be done to revive the food sector, which is going to be an important differentiating factor for the Indian economy. Mr. Sondhi, pleasure to have you back and thank you for joining us. Let's first talk about your understanding of demand and what is happening, and let's talk about the trends which you are witnessing and experiencing in your sector, because frankly the the dairy sector is one sector where the impact of the COVID crisis, if at all, has been minimal.
As far as food or the dairy sector is concerned, you said rightly that there was no problem of demand, and some consumption sector stopped or reduced considerably, but some like household sector, that has grown very much because people were consuming more food or packed food or good food, tasty food of trustworthy brands at home. HoReCa segment, which constitute around 10 to 15% to the any food category, was initially zero. Now it is coming up 3 to 4 to 5%. So household increase has been, compensated for the HoReCa loss, And I think gradually it is Horeca is coming up. So we are more or less at par. So is the case with other food companies. Definitely some distribution channels have changed. I mean, people are buying habits have changed. People are buying either more from the general trade or from the e-commerce, buying more bigger packs in the metros, or buying more branded, trustworthy products. So that things have changed. But overall consumption of food is normal.
Have you seen a shift, Mr. Sondi, in your portfolio, which is that have you seen that your customer base has migrated towards basic dairy products and they moved away from what could be called as luxury products?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there has been major changes in few product categories. You see, in milk, the biggest category is pasteurized packed milk. That is normal. In spite of closure of hotel and restaurant, household consumption increased. No doubt, the cities or the area which are under containment, still consumption is low. I tell you, just yesterday was the Eid. The Eid sale was the same record Eid sale what we had the last year. Or Raksha Bandhan is, we have today only we have got a record sale of milk as well as paneer and dahi, which is going to be consumed for tomorrow. So consumption is. So coming to the product categories, we have seen the categories which has really grown much beyond our expectation. I mean, we could never imagine. Cheese. Cheese is the one category, 35% consumption is in Horeca hotel restaurants. In spite of very low consumption there, our cheese sale has increased by 35%. In fact, we are unable to meet the demand. I mean, maybe people who are buying, especially the Horeca, the unbranded or unknown brand, now consumer is buying trustworthy brand. Paneer, and also, I mean, one category which we are not able to know the reason is chocolate. Chocolate sale has doubled, and we don't know why. I mean, during July, we sold much more, about 25 to 30% more than the peak months of December, January. Same is in the case of Tetra Pak Milk. Same is, I mean, in case of ghee. I mean, ghee sale has increased tremendously. I mean, people are buying more trustworthy brand. I think what people are buying more food, which is immunity booster, which they feel is safe, and they feel it is made out of pure natural ingredients.
Do you see that this crisis could create a reboot in dairy product prices and there could be a glut? Because the demand from the unorganized and the hospitality sector surely has come down, and the farmers are still producing the same, the availability of milk with the farmers is still very large. So somewhere do you see, because of lack of demand, dairy and milk prices could come down?
Pricing pressure is there. One side we say that organized sector sale has not reduced, but other side supplies has increased. I mean, in case of Amul, we got 15 to 17% more milk because unorganized players, small players were not buying milk. So that extra milk came. So that extra milk which organized sector like Amul or other cooperative sectors got is becoming the bottleneck, because that we are converted into commodities. Commodities in milk are basically milk powder and white butter, which we are using later on during summer. But now summer is already over, where demand was the low. So that is creating problems. We can't export it because export market is low and our cost of production is high. And a lot of problems are there in government giving export incentives under WTO. So you can't press too much government of India also, although there are a lot of, areas, a lot of options which they can adopt in encouraging agriculture or dairy exports. But what I can feel is demand, if we have to increase, pricing needs to be stable or maybe reduced in certain product categories where you feel that by reduction in price by 5%, your demand can increase by 20% because food is, after all, is very price elastic product.
Now, the challenge for the first time, Mr. Sundi, after a gap of many years and decades, is that demand is not there. You know, India always had a supply side constraint. It never had a demand side constraint. What to your mind could be done so that there is a revival in demand and there is a boost to the consumer sentiment? The banks are clearly saying that the economy is not pain-free. So, what do you think the government can do to mend the sentiment and to fix things?
If demand has to be increased, more liquidity has to come. And how more liquidity can come in the sector? I mean, you have to see India rural and urban. 68% are rural, 32% is urban, and 50% workforce in the rural sector. As far as the urban sector is concerned, what are the sectors of earnings? I mean, one is the definitely the jobs. We know jobs in the some sector like the service sector, especially travel, tourism, have been impacted. But no doubt, I mean, a lot of jobs are being created in the e-commerce sector where you need a lot of people in the logistics side. Education side jobs are increasing, health side jobs are increasing. So how to shift people where demand or absorption is low to the sectors which require more people, maybe with the slightly skill. Similarly, infrastructure is the one sector where government expenditure can be increased immediately. That can create jobs both for rural and the urban. Coming to the rural sector with 68% people, their earnings depend upon the agriculture produce price, maybe the food grade, or maybe the animal husbandry, or the wages which they earn by sending one or two people to the nearest city, or the small business in what they are there. No doubt government of India already provided a stimulus by way of increasing the Manrega 40,000 crore and announcing a lot of stimulus has been announced, and I feel it will definitely create some more liquidity in the market and the demand for the products and the services. But let me tell you, it is good. Today also, if you see, demand in all the sectors is increasing. I mean, if you go in the market, people are buying apparels, people are buying now consumer durable, people are traveling. 2 days back, I had gone to the Delhi. Both my flight going and coming was full. All the shops of the airport were open. In Delhi, traffic was a lot. I mean, if you walk through, you drive through any city, traffic is normal. No doubt, certain sector is still suffering, but I think now we have to get used to this COVID, and we know still there is no option. I mean, till we get the vaccine, you can't think. But gradually things are coming to normal, and little stimulus from the government will definitely accelerate the coming to the normal.
Mr. Sundi, all large sectors are also experiencing what could be called as consolidation. It's now visible in telecom, it's visible in banks, it's visible in consumer companies. What are the trends you expect will happen in the dairy industry? Because the dairy industry, in a sense, is an industry where you got state players or cooperatives, and then you got a lot of small unorganized players. What happens because of the COVID crisis to the consolidation in the dairy industry?
Small unorganized players in businesses definitely suffer because they were working very unorganized, and consumer demand is more for trustworthy brand or bigger brands, whether you talk food or any other consumer product is concerned. Coming to the dairy sector, unorganized small players who were selling dairy products or animal husbandry produce are definitely going to suffer because consumer is going to, again, like I said, is going to buy more trustworthy brand. But as far as the dairy farms are concerned, I don't think there's going to much impact. And it also depends upon the geography of India where you are located. I mean, the states where cooperative sectors like Amul is there, or Rajasthan, Saras is there, or Punjab, Veka is there, where they are able to buy milk at a good price, farmers are not suffering. I mean, I give you example of Amul. Last 130 days, we have given around 16,000 crore cash in the hand of the rural producers. And that is a big boost I mean, that has really created a lot of demand for the urban industry. And this 16,000 crore rupees has been converted into demand for the various products, food, apparels, and other. I mean, you take any electronic or the education or the automobile. So I feel that urban as well as rural sectors are going to become normal. Some sectors are going to suffer.
Now, the government of India is using this crisis in order to do some inward thinking, and one of the realizations has been that India does have the technology and the skill in the manufacturing sector. In the dairy sector, India a couple of decades ago was not at all Atmanirbhar. In fact, we were dependent on imports from dairy-rich countries. So, what do you think can be done to make India's dairy sector more Atmanirbhar? And do you think in India complete Atmanirbharta can be achieved?
You're right. This one thing which is an innovation in during lockdown and COVID is our trust or confidence in Atmanirbharta. And this new word has really given good meaning to everybody. First is we have to see what are the major categories in which we are not Atmanirbhar. Which are the categories? First is the energy. Second, minerals, electrical and electronics, and then the food is edible oil. So we have to decide and take long-term measures to become Atmanirbhar. You see, becoming Atmanirbhar is not 1 year, 2 or 5 or 10 years game. We have to plan for the next 25 to 30, 40 years, make policy guidelines. Coming to the milk, till mid-70s, we were not Atmanirbhar. We were milk deficient. We were dependent on imports from the other dairy-rich country. But in mid-70s, farmers, policymakers, and political leadership decided to become Atmanirbhar. And Operation Flood was planned where Amul was replicated all over India. And it is 20-25 years project. And today we are world largest producer. We were 1/3 of USA that time. Today we are double than USA. We were 1/8 of Europe. Today we are 25%. So we can become. Why not in energy? Why not in edible oil? I mean, we have got all the resources. We have got the people, biggest assets, big world's largest market, fastest growing market. So if policymakers and political leadership, fortunately now political leadership is stable. So these decisions, these policy decisions can be taken, and one sector by one, we can make policies how to make Indian industry coming out with the best products and services. So you can't become Atmanirbhar just by protecting inefficient Indian industry.
So, what is in store for Amul and for the dairy sector? The dairy sector was growing in early teens. Given that the COVID crisis has not affected the dairy and the food industry, is Amul on course for a double-digit growth?
We are expecting double. I mean, till now in our consumer product, we are growing at a double digit. So is in the case of most of the organized or branded food product categories. No doubt we are suffering in commodity because of practically no sale. But I feel in food will definitely most of the industry will achieve near about double digit, near about double.
So, Mr. Sondi, what is the future of the Dudhwala in India?
A very good question. In rural India, if you can give stable and remunerative source of livelihood, it is the Dudhwala job. Reason is simple. In India, consumption of doodh is increasing or milk is increasing. We are buying more fat and protein-rich food. And with the increase in income, consumption of doodh is going to increase. So anybody in the business of milk or doodh or dairy products, next 30, 40, 50, 100 years, one can expect double-digit growth because that is going to be the increase in demand for the organized or packed dairy products. So it is not only the people who are producing food or who are selling milk, all the related industry, whether in the processing or logistic or in branding or in the packaging or providing IT solution, that milk or animal husbandry or food is going to give double-digit growth.
Now, if you're optimistic about the dairy sector and if the potential in the dairy sector is very large, and we all know that Indians are consuming more protein, more milk, our per capita towards branded dairy products is going higher, how come we don't have too many corporates and global MNCs in the dairy sector, and those who also come in the past have pretty much decided to vacate the spectrum?
It is very simple because dairy sector is dominated by the cooperatives which are owned by farmers. Their business objectives are diagonally opposite to the any business enterprise. Farmers would like to operate their business at highest raw material prices and very affordable price to the consumer by keeping minimum in between gross profit or EBITDA. Any industry will like to earn actually more when they are investing. They want to buy raw material lowest and they have to sell the product equal to the cooperative. So there is no much, I say, malai or the margin in between. So a lot of, you see, the world's biggest multinational dairy companies have entered India. In fact, when Amul started in India, already the world's biggest multinational dairy company was in India. So they are not able to get the margins what they're able to get in other countries. So Indian farmers are getting 70 to 80% of what consumer pay in case of milk. All over world, farmers are getting only 36%. So naturally, that business model will not work in India. So if there is opportunity, like I said earlier, but there is a lot of opportunity, but the business model for Indian dairy industry will not be like the world over or the other industry. Here, if you become more supply chain efficient from buying to selling with the minimum margins, you can really help because scale is huge. Dairy industry is today 8 lakh crore. Organized is around 2.2 lakh crore, growing at 12 to 15%. You show me any sector which has got so much potential.
So how can an entrepreneur, Mr. Sondi, make money in the dairy sector? Because like you said, the dairy sector is dominated by cooperatives. The demand is very high. Milk prices may not be, the margins may not be as thick as what other countries have. So for somebody who wants to say, look, I want to bet on the Indian dairy sector purely because of growth and per capita, and I have a long time horizon which runs into years. How can I make money by investing in the dairy and the milk business?
I don't think you can be in dairy sector without milk. First thing is that. Second is one has to think very, very local. Local means local buying, local processing, local selling within a district or two districts. Because one district in India can give a business of 3 to 500 crore rupees. You buy milk, sell milk in packed form, sell buttermilk, sell dahi, sell local sweets, sell paneer, sell flavored milk. All these are low technology products. And you can make in 2 or 3 districts of any good Indian states 3 to 500 crore rupees business. No need to go in national or full state if you are a small enterprise. In the food, success is only local brand, local buying, local distribution, because consumer is preferring today more locally produced food, locally produced, no doubt very trustworthy brand.
Well, Mr. Sondi, really appreciate your time. You've been very vocal, and thank you for candidly answering all our questions. Stay safe, and once again, a big thank you.